Hi there, I'm Adrian from Australia. Today I wanted to talk to you about getting motivated to learn new programming languages, or even libraries. It depends on what you're looking at, because I think this is a problem a lot of people struggle with, myself included. Being from Australia, we're considered a lazy country. We have phrases like, "she'll be right, mate." So I'm going to show you some of the things that I personally do to stay motivated. So hit subscribe, hit like, and let's get started. So the first thing is energy. Sometimes you just don't have it. You've worked the whole day, and by the time you get home, you're tired. You've got to still do all your chores. You've got to wash the dishes, do the laundry, and you're exhausted. You just want to sit back and watch some YouTube and relax. You're fatigued when you see just how many new programming languages or libraries are coming out. So you just don't have the energy. So your safety bubble. It might be somewhere where you feel safe. You know some technologies. Maybe it's HTML, maybe it's CSS, maybe it's JavaScript. But you're very comfortable with those languages. Seeing a new library called Sass? What's that? Why should I have to learn that? What's the benefit? You get scared a little bit. You think, maybe there's something out there that you don't need to know. You don't understand what it is or why it's doing this thing, and maybe it'll just be depreciated. So why learn it in the first place? You get complacent. You think, there's no need to learn new languages if I already know my stuff. What's the point, right? And maybe you feel overwhelmed. There are so many languages coming out, so many JavaScript changes, so many changes to HTML, and you just don't want to keep track of all of that. It's too much, right? So you stay in your bubble, you stay safe, and you don't do anything, right? So when learning anything new, I think it's very important to take small steps, because looking down any cliff or up any mountain might seem scary, like programming languages, and you never know how far the rabbit hole goes. But if you take one step at a time, eventually you make it to the top or the bottom, and it wasn't so hard. The hardest part was actually just getting started, and I think that's the important thing here. Whether it's a new programming language or a library, just try to get started with their Hello World. That'll kick you off into learning the package. A lot of the times I keep contemplating, should I learn this, should I learn that, but I don't actually just do it. And if I spent that time just doing it, I would have been finished by now. Another thing that helps is just spending 5 minutes on a task. Usually if you commit yourself to just 5 minutes, it doesn't seem like so much. So you can do that once a week, even once a day. And before you know it, you'll probably end up spending an hour or two on it. And another thing I like to do is breaking down big items into smaller components. Just like React or any project or function, you want to keep things small and simple because that's the easiest way to execute them. And this is the same with learning. There's a saying I really like, which is journey before destination. It comes from a guy called Brandon Sanderson. And it's because people often focus too much on the end goal without considering the entire process that gets you there. So, if you're trying to learn a new library or programming language, focus on the learning process. Think more about how you're improving your coding skills and reflect on what you've learned, because those things will really help you go much further than if you're just focusing on being an expert. And no one really is an expert on anything. But what you can do is show just how much experience or learning you've put into something. Another thing that really makes learning easier is by setting a routine. Doing so means you don't have to execute energy to get yourself motivated. It's just in your calendar and you just get it done. You also want to avoid mindlessness. This is essentially watching endless YouTube videos, and I know how ironic that can sound, but it really helps if you just avoid watching TV or YouTube and focus on learning instead, because you're improving yourself and that's what you want to do. So what do you do after you finally learn something new? Well, you do it again. You keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible and you keep improving yourself, because that's the only way to grow as a person. And you can't fail at learning, so don't worry about it. It's like meditation. You can catch yourself not doing it, or even maybe sometimes not doing it properly, but as long as you focus on the process, you'll always be improving. And my final bit of advice is to treat any learning experience more like a holiday. You never think to yourself, oh, let's complete this holiday. No, you think about what you want to do, what you want to experience, and where you want to go. In that same way, I think when you're learning a new technology or library, you should consider to yourself, what do you want to achieve with this? Where do you want to get? And what do you want to experience? And if you do that, you'll always be looking forward to the new thing that you want to learn, the same as a holiday. So, I really hope this has given you an insight to how I do my learning process and how I stay motivated to learn new technologies, libraries, and programming languages. If this video has helped you, please leave a like and please subscribe, because it lets me know what kind of content you guys want. And if you have any feedback, leave them in the comments below. Thank you as always.